Narnia, my angry angel, Maria, right to Narnia.
One February morning, I was startled awake by a sound coming from my kids' room. My husband Ricardo dashes into our room with our 3-year-old son in his arms. Maria, look at him. Marco was stiff, and he seemed to be gasping like he couldn't breathe. As Ricardo lays him down on the bed and starts breathing into his mouth, I have this terrible vision of myself and my son's funeral, shattered in a million pieces. But I snapped out of it. We jumped in the car, and as we're driving to the hospital, I'm wondering, could he have had some kind of nightmare trauma that left him in some kind of coma? My diagnosis was way off. The doctors told us that he had idiopathic epilepsy, which is a fancy term they use to say they don't know why a healthy kid just starts seizing out of the blue. As we're still wrapping our heads around this and adjusting to our new reality, I find out that I'm pregnant. I was a little nervous, but the months went by, and I was excited to welcome a new child into our home. In December, right around Christmas, my son Max is stillborn. Turns out that vision I had came true. I just mistook the son. This was more than our marriage could handle, and in less than 2 years, Ricardo and I were divorced. So here was single mom dealing with a special needs child. The meds could be pretty tough: vomiting, nausea, drooling, and sometimes even psychotic episodes. So imagine watching your child have 2 seizures every day that could end up in broken bones, broken teeth, bloody head. You're sitting at a restaurant, and all of a sudden he crashes into his plate, falls on the floor, and takes the whole tablecloth with him, but not in that cool magician sort of way, if you know what I mean. You're cradling him on the floor, trying to calm the patrons and apologize for the inconvenience. Now, I wish I could say I was handling this in a graceful way, but the truth is I wasn't. I was so angry at life for all of this. And I even took up karate to deal with my anger. And if that weren't enough, have you ever noticed how many incompetent drivers there are out there? For some reason, they chose this moment in my life to start following me everywhere. Like that time I was merging into a highway, and a guy in a black SUV comes up right behind me and cuts me off. I had to brake hard to avoid it, and I didn't even think. I floored it, and I cut him off the same way. But my satisfaction was short-lived, because he came back up behind me and cut me off a second time. As I saw him get out of his car, I thought, this is it, death by road rage. But as the adrenaline pumped through my whole body, I was strangely excited to see if that black belt was going to be handed. As I saw him, we make eye contact, and something shocked me. All the anger and bitterness and grief I had been feeling was reflected in this man's face right back at me. And I think he felt something too, because his disposition changed. Or maybe he was just disappointed that I was a woman. I don't know. You cut in front of me, he says. Yeah, how's it feel? With that, he shrugged his shoulders and went back to his car. That was it. As I'm still standing there shaking, I realize I can't go on living like this. Something's got to change. When I told a friend of mine what had happened, she says, Maria, that guy was an angel. What? more like a ghost from a Dickens novel, if you ask me. But like Dickens, I had my reckoning. I saw that anger had given me the illusion of strength when I felt most vulnerable and helpless. But I knew that my real strength would be found through clarity and serenity. I changed a lot of things. I learned to slow down, to breathe and be mindful. And I gave up karate, took up yoga. As I interacted with more patients, I also noticed that my son's seizures seemed to start decreasing. Was that a coincidence? And the pesky drivers decided to stop following me. Maybe they're following somebody else. Marco today is a thriving young man with a wonderful disposition. I'm really proud of him. And guess who has since become an interpersonal intelligence expert? Go figure. You see, Marco may have been the one with the diagnosis, but I was the one who needed healing from all of those toxic emotions. And it took my angry angel to let me know that I had to be like Elsa and let it go. Few thoughts. Are any of those pesky drivers following you around? And if so, is there anything you need to let go of? And lastly, if an angel comes to deliver a message, will you be listening? Kanta's chair.